Hey Rick, welcome to the MasterCard Cup. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your address position, and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your address position, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. Spine's nice and straight, not a tilt. Legs come down, nicely unlocked position. Arms hang down nice and naturally off your tilted spine. Club works out to the ball. So really good posture here in association with good balance. Looks really, really great. Let's go ahead and take a look at your alignment. Your feet are aiming left. Carry that out towards the intended target. Theoretically, club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera will have an appearance to converge. Under that philosophy, we can see that you're definitely aiming to hit the ball out over the tall tree on the left here. So obviously we're going to have to see some form of compensation whereby you're going to be trying to get that ball back out towards the center of the fairway. And we'll take a look and see what those compensations are in just a few minutes here. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison between you and Jordan Spieth. I've got some color-coded lines on the screen to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane and get an understanding of how the club is supposed to move in order to produce straight golf shots. So clearly we can see with Jordan Spieth much more square with his feet, his knees, his hips, his forearms, and his shoulders than you, but the posture balance quite similar. So we initiate our takeaway. We want to turn our shoulders, draw our arms and hands back as well as our club. We want the club coming back along the red line on plane. Also in the early stages of the golf swing, we want to incorporate some good wrist hinge into play, which means we need to transition the club head currently from being below and in front of our hands to getting this club head above and behind our hands, as we can see right there. Very, very important move in the golf swing. From here, we're now going to work the club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we either want to have the left arm of the club situated on yellow, anywhere in between the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue as we see with Jordan Spieth. We also want to create full shoulder rotation. We want to do this about a very stable right leg while maintaining the posture axis that we achieved at address. Now typically people who set up open will take the club outside of swing plane here. So let's watch you initiate your takeaway. And that's exactly what happens. So your hands move out away from your core. It's moving the club shaft and the club head outside of the ball. And we're taking the club way, way outside at this point in time. So one of the things you automatically want to do in your golf swing, whether or not you're in this alignment or not, is when you draw a golf club back, you want to swing your hands, arms, and golf club around you into the inside. And actually, if you're going to make an error, I'd actually want to see your club move underneath the red line a little as opposed to outside. From here, as you continue to take your hands and arms outside and steep, you're starting to get some wrist hinge into play, but the club head's still way out in front of your hands. You're going to have to drop this in at some point in time and shallow this out a bit. Otherwise, we're just not going to have any power at all. We can see it shallowing out right now. So at least there's some correction going on through here. When we finally get to the top of your backswing, you have good turn, stable right side. You're maintaining your posture. But we can see that you definitely set your arms too steep, right? Left arm's well above the blue line. The most steep I want to have it is on blue, as we see with Jordan. I actually prefer amateur players to have their left arm down on yellow, just because it's easier to return the club back to red and come into the ball from on plane. So you've got a lot of rerouting to do here. I mean, this is almost like a position we would see with a Jim Furyk, where you're set. Now we've got to drop everything way back to the inside to get this golf club back on plane and back to red, or like a Freddie Couples. So there's a lot of looping, a lot of rerouting back and inside we've got to do here. With Jordan Spieth, we take the weight from the right foot, move it to the left. We fire the knees and the hips to the target. We unwind the core. We fire the hands. And in doing so, we bring the golf club from that blue-yellow V zone, wherever we set it, and we bring the golf club back down onto red, which is exactly what we see with Jordan Spieth. The golf club has returned back to plane. The other thing we want to point out and observe here is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. This simply means that the club head right now is remaining above and behind his hands coming into the hitting zone. This is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing, let alone also his ability to hit the ball straight due to the fact the club, as already noted, has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in producing straight golf shots. Now I want to take Jordan back down to his address position for a second. We had talked about creating a hinge. We talked about getting the club head currently from below in front of our hands to above and behind. So notice during the backswing when we create this hinge, we achieve the exact same backwards check mark. So all he does right now is takes that club up towards the blue-yellow V zone and returns it right back into that blue check mark. This is the most important part of a golf swing right here. This is what allows us power, allows us to hit the ball straight. So in your case, being steep, this is going to be very difficult to do. Most people who set their arms this steep come into the ball very steep. They throw the club way outside and they attack the ball from outside to inside. You actually have a pretty unique movement here, transitioning back in the ball, where you actually give me a little bit of a Jim Furyk, a little bit of a Freddie Couple move, where you actually drop everything back to the inside. So watch you go here. So hands drop down and in. So this is just a fantastic reroute from the top of your backswing, dropping those hands and arms back and in. Hopefully we can get the club at least back to the blue-yellow V zone. So let's check that out first of all. So now your hands are starting to cut, so they dropped in, but now they're going out. They're going down yellow out towards blue. You're still fighting to keep the club head behind your hands. So let's go to the next frame. So right here, I mean, I can't draw it in blue, so let me draw it in red. I mean, your lead forearm's coming out here. The club, that's not in red. Lead forearm's coming out here, and your club's working back here. So we have some backwards check mark. Club head's above and behind the hands. So you'll be able to create some power in your golf swing. The only problem is your club is not returning back to plane. So we're not going to be able to hit the ball straight. So if we go to the next frame here, the club's going to start falling out in front of you. So actually, let's mark it was here. Wow, you know what? You still did a great job trying to fight to get that club back onto the red line. Really, really good job. And actually in the next one, you're probably going to get it on plane here. This is beautiful. You actually drop it slightly inside. So if we connect the dots, we can see that you worked really, really hard to keep the club above and behind your hands. You worked really, really hard to get that golf club falling somewhere back onto plane. Okay? So again, we already noted you were aimed way left. Yep. We bring the club back outside and really steep. We drop it back inside, trying to get the club back to red. Barely get it back into the blue-yellow V zone through here. And then we finally get it back on red. So at least the golf club is coming into the ball from on plane. That means it's attacking the ball slightly from the inside. So the good thing here is basically what we say is we say, hey, when the golf club returns back to plane, as we see with Jordan Spieth, and attacks the ball from on plane, we have the ability to hit a straight shot in accordance to where we're aimed. Lastly, assuming the club face squares up via having a good grip. Well, where are you aimed? You're aimed left. So the club has returned to plane, so you now have the ability to hit the ball straight based on that alignment, but unfortunately we're too far left. So the only last criteria here is the club face. So what we now need to understand is that when you come into the golf ball here, you better leave the club face open so we can block the ball on line. Let's see what happens to the club face. So the club face squares up, doesn't over-release. Hopefully we were able to block that ball out to the right a little from where we were aimed. But it looks like the club face squared up. Yeah, it did. So basically what's happening here is we're hitting the ball somewhat in the direction of where we're aimed. It's going left. Club face did release through impact. So that ball is going to get out there. It's going to continue to go further left on you. So the ball is going in the direction of where you're aimed. And it's going to continue to curve left because the club face closed and it imparted right to left spin on the ball. Okay? So your motion through, good footwork, getting through to a good finish. I mean, overall, your athletic quality is really nice in your golf swing. I mean, your hands work great. They come back, they fire through. Your core works well. You coil, you uncoil. You get good footwork, allowing you to get through to a good finish. But you see this rerouting. It's almost like we pick the club straight up and out. Then we drop it in. and then we swing through, and obviously at that point we're trying to manipulate the club face. If you don't over-release it, you can sort of block straight the shot. But in this particular case, you definitely release the club, you impart a right to left spin, and that ball is going to be going left and further left. Okay? Again, 3 things we need to be consistent. We have to aim well, bring the club in from on plane, and square the face up. Unfortunately, we see we're aiming left. You are trying to drop the club on plane. You're making it too difficult on yourself. So, I mean, simply if all you did was learn to swing your hands, arms, and golf club inside and around you to begin with, it would be a lot easier to bring the club into the ball from on plane than getting steep and trying to drop it back and inside. So improve your backswing. It'll be easier to come into the ball from on plane. So improve your aim, improve your backswing to improve your downswing, and then that way we don't have to do anything crazy with the hands through impact, and we can certainly become more consistent. If at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects of your golf game, I'm located over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide your guest, feel free to touch base. I'd be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, I hope you had a fabulous day, and I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video here. Take care.